I want to get your take first and foremost on Stephen Moore, the nomination to the Fed board. Are you supportive of him?
Well, I'm not sure that the president has actually nominated him. I know that he's being vetted already. I'm going to wait until we have an entire portfolio of what he's said, what he's done, and then evaluate his nomination once it's been confirmed that the president has done so. Until then, there's a lot of information is leaking out, so to speak, which is hard to figure out what to target.
Do you have any concerns?
Well, certainly. There are some comments that he's made in the past that he's apologized for. I'd love to hear his perspective on it one-on-one or at least in a committee format, so that would be helpful. At the same time, he would bring a fresh perspective to the Fed. Some folks who would be critical of that perspective, but I think some scrutiny is not a bad idea. But I have not committed to support him or vote against him. I'm looking forward to having a chance to talk with him about the actual job itself.
One of the things that you've been really focused on are economic opportunity zones. In particular, yes. You've got some new policy. And tell us about that.
Yeah, so opportunity zones, we have about 8,700 opportunity zones around the country. The incentive is a tax deferral for up to 7 years and a step up in your basis by 15%, as well as once you make that initial investment, you can go 10 years and then you would not owe any capital gains tax on the profit. So there is a lot of incentives. The goal, of course, is to help impoverished communities or distressed communities. I grew up in a single-parent household, mired in poverty, so one of my desires as a public servant is to help folks who come from challenging backgrounds.
And so one of the things in particular, though, about these is that essentially this has really become a nonpartisan issue.
Yes.
So who are some of the Democrats that you're working with on this?
Yeah, so Cory Booker has played a significant role in it. Folks like Mike Bennett, Senator Peters have been involved in it. We have, of course, many folks on my side, if not all folks on my side, from Pat Toomey to Rob Portman, Shelley Capito, Senator Ernst, have all been involved and engaged in the process of presenting opportunity zones throughout the country.
How do businesses take advantage of this? How does Wall Street, for example, make the direct inroads in order if they want or are interested in making these investments?
Certainly. So you can do it one of two ways. An individual can establish themselves and their business as an opportunity fund so they can make investments in zones, or you can actually join a fund like a mutual fund. And there are opportunity funds being established throughout the country. I hear upwards of $100 billion.
You're also on the Finance Committee, and we're waiting for a trade deal on a host of different issues.
Knock on wood.
What would you like to see, first and foremost, on USMCA or NAFTA? There's been a lot of back and forth as to whether or not there's even support on Republicans in the Senate.
Well, I think there's support for us moving to the next iteration of NAFTA. USMCA would be that next iteration. The challenge is, of course, as the chairman of the Finance Committee has come out fairly critical and clear about the impact the tariffs are having throughout the country. And he said, if we don't eliminate tariffs, we don't have a vote on USMCA. So that's one hurdle that we have to overcome.
Do you agree with him?
Well, I certainly think that the tariffs have been challenging. I'm not sure that I would tie the elimination of tariffs to voting on the USMCA, because the USMCA, based on the economists I've read, actually provides more jobs, more opportunities throughout our country. That's a good reset. So I would not necessarily tie the end of tariffs to the beginning of more opportunities.
And then with U.S. and China, where do you think we're going to get an agreement?
I'm optimistic. I think Secretary Mnuchin has been very clear that this is an all or none game. We are in a good position to reset our relationship with China. Their exports to America have dropped, I hear, as high as 30+%. That's a good place to be if you want to have a positive, successful negotiations. We need to reset the table. China has been doing some things that are challenging our long-term prospects. So if we can push back on that, eliminate some of the challenges, let's move forward.